following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a Monday edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Tostitos, the official chip and the official dip of the Dallas Cowboys, here from the Star in Frisco in the SWBC studios. And we are breaking down what was not the ideal Sunday at AT&T Stadium, week 9 of the NFL season. Goes just like that. Perfect timing from Chris Beam because the Cowboys did not score until 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the ball game. They were blanked 30-0 to start. Tacked on a couple touchdowns late in the final score against the once even 500 4-4 Denver Broncos. Denver 30, Dallas 16, and I mean, what else can you say about it? This was just one of those weeks where nothing went your way. Heckma was at the game. Rob was at the game. Isaiah and I were in studio. But we'll start with Rob. Where does this one rank in terms of games where it was just one of those days?
As on a good Cowboys team?
Yeah.
I think Dak said it. I think 2018 when they got shut out in Indy, when they were rolling after the Amari Cooper trade, that's the closest thing I can remember to just a drop in momentum. Like I said it last week, the Vikings win in Minnesota was the best win of the McCarthy era. Then you turn around and have this. I just want to share a few words/phrases from last night's postgame. Thumped, whooped, out-hit, out-physicaled, punched in the face, embarrassing. The last one from Mike McCarthy, outplayed and outcoached. That sounds like a match with The Undertaker, you know?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. The Undertaker was there, and Rob Phillips got to interview The Undertaker. Best part of the day by far?
By far.
Yeah.
By far. It was a good day. And a great day to honor our armed forces as well.
Yeah.
But after kickoff, man, was not fun.
It's not honoring.
What'd you think, Heckma?
Man, it looked like one of those games where everything was out of sorts from the beginning. I mean, from the beginning, the vibes were just off. And, I want to, you talk about the words out-hit, out-coached. Embarrassing is the other word that I heard because you hear, this team knows that they're better than the performance that they put up. And everyone has been asking, when is that letdown game going to come? When are we going to have that roadblock? And fortunately for us, we got it at home. And it was embarrassing, and it was that kind of butt whipping that I think you can remember. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever lost a fight in your life, but if you have,
never.
I mean,
look at me.
Yeah, Rob's undefeated in fights. Actually,
well, look,
probably a true statement.
Look, it's something to be learned from getting your butt whooped, and sometimes it's a humbling experience. And I just feel like, look, man, we got that humbling experience, and you saw guys take the podium, and they looked humbled by the experience that they had. And credit the Denver Broncos and what they did because defensively they showed up ready to go. They didn't have whatever the mountain time that they came from. They didn't affect them because they were right on time when they got here. And defensively and offensively, they were clicking on all cylinders. There was a few names we didn't even talk about, but I'm sure we'll get into and dissect here in just a minute.
Yeah, we sat here all week and gassed up Dallas. We sat up here all week and talked about the matchups, the advantages that we had offensively, defensively, how our receivers can destroy their secondary, even though that was the strongest part of their team. We also talked about some of the dangers. The number one danger being that even though, on paper, historically, based upon this season, we're a better team than them, that you still have to show up. We said that. We said you still have to show up and you still have to play. You have to respect them simply because these guys are professionals at what they do too, right? And if you choose not to show up, you will get popped in your mouth, right? Or like my mom says to my kids, right, her grandkids, don't make me spank that pow-pow, right? The Cowboys got their pow-pow spanked, all right, and because they chose not to show up. And it was very apparent, it was very obvious in that game that from the snap of the ball, they weren't there. They weren't there. I don't know. Now, we don't know why. We don't know if they just thought that they was going to show up and Cadillac through it. We don't know if they showed up and they were just out of sorts. We really have no idea. But I do know that in all aspects of the game, except for maybe special teams, actually, said those guys didn't show up. Offense, Dak looked bad. Let's just call it how it is. People can yell at me all day long. Dak looked bad, and I'm sure he would stand behind there and say the same thing.
He did.
His mechanics were off. His accuracy was off. But on the other side of that, offensive line did not help the matters, right? No. Offensive line looked like trash, right, at both tackles. And interior-wise, those guys were running stunts, and which created a lot of open seams for their second and third level defenders to be able to put pressure on Dak as well. Our receivers, when the ball did get to our receivers, dropped balls on third downs. Huge plays, right? Dropped opportunities. So offensively, it was trash. Defensively, we talked about the one area that we can get hurt was where? In the running game. Even though we didn't really respect these backs, we had to respect the fact that these guys have a good running scheme, right? This zone offense. I alluded to the old school Terrell Davis days where you had to be aware of what these guys do because of that scheme. Well, guess what? They did that. Right, they did that, and our guys
they switched that up. They went from zone. Yeah. They changed a lot of what we had seen throughout the week from running the ball in the zone sense, like you said, stretching. And they had some counters going. They had a lot of different things.
They had whatever they wanted on the ground.
Well, but then I was talking to P before we got in here, and it just seemed like in the first half defensively, our guys just weren't getting set. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were waiting on the call or what it was, but once Teddy Bridgewater went with a quicker up tempo, you saw guys still standing around the line of scrimmage while the Denver Broncos were already set. So I don't know if those things were a part of us not being off a little bit, but those are just things that were happening during the game.
That was one of the first times, at least dating back to the opening week of the season, where I looked at the defense and said, they don't necessarily know what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of different confusion looks. I mean, deer in the headlights on multiple occasions throughout. So that kind of brings me back to what you were saying earlier, because the Denver Broncos did their job of switching things up on film and then executing the adjustments that they made. Dallas stayed stagnant, and it seemed like they didn't have any adjustment along the way. So were they out-coached in this game, and how severely were they out-coached in the game?
It's hard to say. From a viewer's perspective, it's really hard to say that you're out-coached. I do know we can point out and say, hey, we were inaccurate. Hey, we didn't block. All these kind of things.
Sure,
we can point out execution.
Yeah.
Defensively, they were hesitant as all get out. We've been talking about how fast and physical our team has been all year long, and then all of a sudden I pointed out multiple times during the game where Kazee was sitting back there just waiting for the guy to turn around, do a 360 and everything. He's still sitting there. I'm like, bro, can we go hit somebody? Even Micah, as well as he played sideline to sideline, there were still some plays where he was hesitant. So there was a lot. I'm just pointing out those two guys. Those were the first two that popped off my head. There was a lot more than that, but guys were hesitant, and to that point, were they thinking too much? Or were they just out of it? We don't know, right? But what we do know is that it equaled that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Keanu O'Neal also. You saw there were situations where it wasn't good.
No.
It really wasn't. And I saw down on the goal line where Luke Gifford was in the game on the goal line.
What was that about?
I don't know. But he was in the game. He was in the game, and number 99, Hamilton.
Justin Hamilton.
Yep. Dante Poe is gone, but I'm telling you, he had a Poe moment.
It reminded me. It reminded me, no doubt. When I've seen him getting thrown around, I'm like, bro.
No, that wasn't good.
No.
And I think up front, physically, that was where some of the problems were started. I think what was more frustrating than anything is just seeing the Broncos in situations like, was it 2nd and 17, and then they get a 15, 14-yard pickup. And we have situations where we can get the ball back. It just, nothing was going our way at all. And it just, even from the punt block, we couldn't even do the punt block right. So that was the
that one hurt.
Yeah, it did. That hurt. And have you seen that? I've seen it before, but have you been a part of a game where you've seen something like that?
We're in the studio, and Barry and I were actually up in arms about it, really going back and forth about, hey, what the heck is the ruling on this? Because in our head, if the Cowboys never possessed the ball, it should have never been a change of possession. But this is a funky rule. So,
it's a dumb rule.
You can
use a different word than funky.
If
it's not possessed by the player, even if it's after the line of scrimmage, why is it a turnover?
I agree.
It's dumb, and they need to look at it because I think you should have possession of the ball and then lose it to be a muff and a fumble.
Correct.
But Mike McCarthy didn't shy away. He said, we know the rule. And Deshaun Wright apparently knows the rule. It's an instinct thing.
Yep.
If you see the ball, go get the ball.
See ball, get ball.
Yeah. And so he's a young player, and Young players make those mistakes.
The one thing about that rule that
I would have made that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too.
I think anybody would. You can't fault Nahshon Wright, a rookie trying to make a play on special teams. He sees the ball. He's like, yeah, let's go get it and have a fumble.
And when he did that, it made me think about a play that I had. I don't know if everybody has a bad play, but we were playing against the Philadelphia Eagles at the old Cowboys Stadium, and the doggone kicker kicked the ball in a little squib kick, little joint, little curveball, and it dropped out. And I came out to get it from the kickoff return position, and it hit my hands, and it dove right out underneath me. So it hit my hands and went into the end zone. Instinctively, what are you thinking? Crap, I touched the ball. Yeah. Right?
Gotta go get it.
I got to go get this thing. I went and got it, and we got tackled inside like the 1 yard line. Next play, Romo gets fumbled. Not even that fumble for a touchdown. It was bad, right? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I just screwed this whole thing up. But the rule said, as long as the momentum of the ball keeps going, I could have downed it in the end zone. But to your point, instinctively, I got to go do this right now. Yeah. So it's hard to fault Nahshon.
Split second.
Yeah, split second decision.
Maybe in March at the owners' meetings, maybe it'll be discussed and changed. We'll see.
Stephen
Jones is on the competition committee, so
hey, maybe
he's
maybe
definitely gonna circle that one.
Come back to it. Yeah. But whenever you're on offense and a ball is fumbled and a defender touches a football, even if it's bouncing forward, that's not an automatic change of possession. Yes. Now, if a defender picks it up, holds it, makes a football move, that's different. Then he fumbles it again. That's a change of possession.
Very strange.
No such thing. So why is that rule in special teams and not necessarily?
You got to ask Chris Beam about that, man. Chris Beam was the punt return specialist. He's the guy that yelled Peter. So
get away!
He's the Peter guy.
Get away!
I do believe that had that. Now, for those that have been on really good teams, right? If you've been on a really good team before, everybody has had a game, right? I could think back to a basketball game back in high school where we were getting destroyed by this team that should not have been beating us. And then we finally at halftime, we're like, you all ready to play? All right, let's go play. And we just came back and took over the game. I felt like this is the same instance, right? These guys were getting beat by a team that we shouldn't be getting beat by. The game was still close. It was a 2-possession game. And we go into half, and guys are like, you ready to play? Yeah, all right, let's go make some plays. And then what happens? We come out, boom, block the punt, and then we don't get it.
Got to get the ball inside the 30.
But I feel like if that would have went our way, I think we would be sitting here talking about a victory.
Maybe. Because
that's all it is. Well, that's all it is.
Because I agree with him.
Yeah.
They've been a second-half team all year. What?
No, go ahead.
The side was...
Well, they missed so many opportunities, and especially offensively because Dak was off. There's no doubt about it. Can't sugarcoat it. But they've been outscoring. I looked it up. First 7 games, they'd outscored teams by a total of 51 points. They've been a second-half team. But I think Michael Strahan said at halftime, when a team is running on you like this,
you can't. Yeah.
It's hard to come out and adjust to that.
Yeah.
And that was a problem all year long last year, the run defense. And I brought it up around bye week time.
Yep.
The Pats tested them.
Yep.
And there were cracks there. Now, give them credit against Minnesota. They stood up strong against Dalvin Cook. But this is the first time a team really pounded it, and they really had and it changed the course of the game. It really did.
I think with the blocked punt, because I agree with you completely. Time of possession was dominated by Denver, and I think that would have continued. 41 minutes on offense.
That's
that would continue whether or not you converted on the block punt. But you're talking about offensive momentum, because if you get the ball inside the 30, I'd have to go back and chart this, but how many times did Dallas even have the ball inside the Denver 30 until the fourth quarter? Probably not at all. Even in the first 2 drives of the game when they went for it on 4th down and they could have kicked the field goals.
Well, they didn't get into the red zone until the last 2, if you want to call them garbage time touchdowns.
So that could have jump-started the offense, having the ball there, converting, going and finding pay dirt. And then you find your rhythm later on, and maybe you can win that.
I mean, it's all speculation, right? It's all speculation. It's all what if. But having been a part of teams like that in the past, it sounds really bad, but it's really a light switch. It's the same reason why I think Kansas City is about to turn it on, and I hope they don't turn it on until after us. But I feel like Kansas City is about to hit that light switch. But you just know what they're capable of, and it takes one little mojo moment. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's go ball.
You think part of that factored into their thinking of going for it twice on 4th and short early in the game? They have so much confidence in their offense and, quite frankly, confidence in their defense that, hey, if we don't get it, we'll get it back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why. I mean, you feel like you're just that good. And again, you need to Heckler's point, you need to get checked in the chin, right? You rather get checked in your chin early in the season versus this happening later on and you not recognizing how to respond to it. So I'm glad it happened early if it was going to happen. Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah, confidence and arrogance are twins in similar situations, and those fourth downs. And I know this is an old school way of thinking about whether to go for it or not. I just felt like there were certain points where you didn't have any rhythm at all, and those going forward on fourth downs cost you.
0 for 3, right?
Yeah, and
0 for 4. 4? Mm-hmm. Oh, Jesus.
So and that not only that, and the time of possession, like you pointed out, but the momentum part of it. I mean, even from the start with Tony Pollard's kickoff, and that would to me is like, oh man, we came out, we're ready to go, and then you go, 3 and out or 4 and out.
Sack him on the first play.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Teddy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's Carlos Watkins,
right.
got that sack. And there's just so many things that's happening throughout the game that even the momentum aspect of it, we were not as up against the ropes as it seemed. But once Javonte Williams started pounding, it made it where, like, okay, there's nothing we can obviously do to get back in this game. And Teddy Bridgewater, man, look, Teddy P, man, love TKO. If y'all don't know, y'all too young for that. Anyway, but he just found all the open receivers, and he did a lot of good work yesterday.
One part of the game that I highlight, and I was like, ooh, big question mark, was on the punt, the muff punt. The muff punt with Seti.
Wilson.
Yeah, that one
that was tough, wasn't it?
Man.
Yeah, that's a momentum killer.
That was like, yo.
Right through.
Ooh. Like,
Could have been really bad at
bad.
that point.
It would have just added to it.
But like it's little things like
it
that.
hadn't gone downhill at that point.
At that point, it hadn't gone downhill. I mean, but it allows those negative thoughts to kind of come in your head. I mean, again, a lot of this stuff sounds really bad, but this is the reality. Sorry, people. It allows those negative thoughts to come in your head, and then guess what? Then something negative actually happens. You're like, oh, we're about to have one of those days.
Like a drop.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those.
More
than a couple of those.
Yeah, you can say bad ball, but yeah, Coop was right there, big dog. I mean, he's right there in your his
wet bar soap,
low below the belt, but you still got to bring those in. So there's a lot of everybody. Seemingly everybody had their part in it. It wasn't just like, oh, this one guy. Everybody had a part. So that's what makes games like this very important. And actually, these games can bring you together. Games like this can bring you together because you can't go in the locker room and say, man, Heck was tripping, man, Heck didn't ball out. You say, hey, we all suck. Yeah. We all suck. Let's figure this thing out.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. Like in the NBA, you play 82 games, and you have a crappy game like that. You just say, forget it. We're not even going to watch the film.
We have so many.
You only get 17 of these, and you have a young team, a very young team that, like J. Ron Kerr said, this is not going to be a fun film watch, but we got to watch it. We got to see what we did wrong because you're halfway through the season, and you can chalk it up to just a bad game, but halfway through the year, this is where teams start to make adjustments and start to get a read on what you like to do. And so this is very important to see how they respond coming out of this.
Hey, Cordell Patterson, he's not going to look at it and say, oh, that was just a bad game. He's going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Take my notes. All right, he's right here. Everybody else isn't going to chalk it up as a bad game. So if you want to chalk it up as a bad game, sorry for you.
Well, these guys have to go back and evaluate it.
Yeah.
And that's just important for them as how young they are and the culture that we've been talking about. And you're right, man. There's so many teams that would have just said, let's not even watch this because that wasn't us. I think for a young team, you have to go back and you have to dissect this and say, what happened here? Even the coaches, I'm sure last night they were here. They're still here,
yes.
From watching the game last night. But dissecting what happened, right? And I think everybody has to just take a step back from this and just say, man, we were off, but we cannot show up again like that.
You cannot let it affect you going forward.
Nope.
You got to put it in your rearview mirror, learn from it. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, remember, we've always talked about breaking the NFL season into quarters, now quarters plus one. But through the first 2 quarters, you were 3-1 and you were 3-1. It's a pretty good start to the season. If you want to continue that, let's continue it. Don't let this one loss affect you. You're going to lose games along the way. In a 17-game season, you will lose games. We weren't going to finish 16-1. You can't let this one, though, bleed into Atlanta, which then goes to Kansas City. And then you've got Las Vegas because you got a tough quarter coming up. And if you let this linger, you're going to be in trouble, and you might actually find yourself in a race for the NFC East. All right, when we come back, what was the most concerning part about the 30-16 loss against the Denver Broncos? We'll tell you next on Talkin Cowboys.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys, where, as always, it's a great people, great pay replay on Caliber Collision side of things, because Jason Witten has joined the Caliber Collision team. You can join him to do great work with great people for great pay. Apply now at jobs@caliber.com. That's jobs@caliber.com. Get that bread for Isaiah Stanback. I don't know what you're doing right there.
Make it hell. I keep forgetting. I know what I thought you were flipping the coin or something.
I thought he was flipping the coin, too.
It was coins.
Yeah. Just
You only
gold
do one
coins.
coin?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
That's all good.
Bitcoin?
No, I don't have a Bitcoin.
Whatever.
That fan has a Bitcoin.
Yeah, the one in Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Got it from Tom Brady? All right, we're continuing to break down this 30-16 loss against the Denver Broncos. And it, like we said in the first segment, just wasn't right for the Cowboys from the beginning. A season low in total yardage, a season high in rushing yards allowed. Gave up 30 points at home before you found the scoreboard. Everything went wrong. You could point it in a bunch of different directions.
Can I say one more thing?
What's that?
Cooper Rush had more points.
Oh, no.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, no.
Don't go there.
It's just a fact.
Stop it.
It's a fact. It's our lowest point total of the year, right? Is it not?
You are the consummate antagonist. He loves that role.
He's poking the digital bear right now.
Yeah.
We're going down stats, and I'm just saying.
So,
yeah.
We scored less points this week than
what would be your
week.
intro music if you were a wrestler? Would you go with the Undertaker?
I'm Stone Cold all day. I'm Stone Cold all day.
Glass breaking?
Yeah.
Show me green, baby. You'd have to have the alcoholic less beer.
That's it. That's it. You know, I don't drink.
Can't have those Miller Lights.
I don't drink. Yeah, exactly.
Smash them together.
I don't know who our drink sponsor is. That's
It's
not
Miller
alcoholic.
Lite.
Well, they have a non-alcoholic something, don't they?
Sure. Maybe. They got to somewhere.
Deja Blue. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
It's definitely non-alcoholic.
Pepsi. All right. I want to point in one specific direction. What was your most concerning part of the loss? It doesn't have to be a specific player. Doesn't have to be a unit. It could be a thought process, the mindset. But it can be a specific player and a specific unit as well. Heckma, I'll start with you. But when you look back at this loss in the future, what are you going to say, man, this scares me going into the rest of the season?
Back to what Rob said during the bye week, man, the running game, and I think it's all predicated by our defensive line. You saw some big gaping holes in our defense that we hadn't seen previously. And so linebacker communication, even Jerron Kearse looked a little bit off, and we've been talking about how great he looked. So I think defensively there were just some things that we have to work on. Dan Quinn wasn't as sharp as we are accustomed to seeing him as far as the play calling. But, calling these defenses, we just didn't dial up anything. And it seemed to be everything that we did try to, if there were any adjustments that were made, the Broncos made an adjustment as well. It just kept the party going.
Early in the game, it seemed like the defensive line was getting pushed. I mean, Randy Gregory, Carlos Watkins, Osa Odigizua, my goodness. For the first 3 series, he was in the backfield almost every play. And they continued that same mindset throughout. But what happened? What switched from the pass rush being at least somewhat successful to just getting completely blown off the ball and then opening gaping holes for Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon to run through?
Yeah, possession. Time of possession and the amount of plays that they have versus us. I mean, your defense can't say – if you stay out there for 73 plays, that just attrition is going to happen. Guys are going to get tired. These big gashing plays are going to start to happen. And I just feel like that's – over time, I think you pointed out the first quarter how our guys were playing. The Broncos found something. They found, like, different guys to pin the tail on the donkey. We were worried about Judy and Sutton. And we never said anything about 81. This guy turned in
Patrick.
Patrick and guy from Utah that came out and balled and just exposed us in a lot of ways in our secondary. I think, young guys that have to step up. I mean, we talked about Trayvon Diggs. I've been the guy saying, man, Trayvon Diggs, elite. He does so many great things. This guy can go down, baby prime, all of that.
That was bad.
Last couple of games, we've seen some holes in his game. So, he's got to get back to what made him, got him to the 7 picks.
You think teams are trying to counter his aggressiveness and say, we know you're gonna gamble at times, and we're gonna play off of that? I mean, that seems like that's what they're doing.
That double
moves, that kind of thing. I mean, that's the flip side. But he gives you so much with taking the ball away. That's
Barry Church.
That's what you.
Barry Church was one of the first guys that I heard talk about Trayvon Diggs in the way that the double move is going to affect him eventually, and somebody must have heard that and picked up on it because they're throwing a lot of double moves at Trayvon and
from Ohio
and B from Ohio, man.
He upended the whole thing.
Yeah, he gave the secret sauce away.
B from Ohio. Never answered that call again, CB.
What do you think, Isaiah?
The lack of want to.
That's what you're most concerned about?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. The reason being, even if you have a game like this, you rather get beat rather than say that your team just let up. And I feel like it both occurred yesterday. I feel like we got beat, and I feel like our guys did not give everything that they had. I think we all can point to a number of plays where you were just like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
It's just a lack of effort. Not necessarily a lack of execution, because the execution comes based upon the effort that you put out. Guys just weren't putting forth their best effort. And that, to me, was the most concerning thing. We can coach up better, right? We can coach up better to guys being better gaps. We can coach up guys to schemes, all that kind of stuff. I can't coach you to have better effort. I can't make you want to make a play. I can't make you want to go hit somebody, to go want to block somebody, to want to give that extra little bit that's going to give us opportunity to have a big play. I can't make you do that. And the fact that you listen, that you show me that you're capable of pulling off, lets me know that I don't know when the next time that's going to rear its little ugly head. When's the next time that you don't want to do something? When's the next time that you just don't want to go out there and put out everything that you have? Because that's what I'm expecting out of you when I put you on the field, regardless of how the game's going. Detroit's been getting their butt kicked all year long, but guess what? Them boys are still playing hard, right? They're just getting beat.
Yeah.
Right?
And they don't have any talent.
They don't have any talent, right? But you're not questioning effort. We questioned effort with one guy last year, and he came back and kicked our butt last week, right? We questioned effort one time. So I don't want to see that present itself, because that to me is concerning. That as we talk about culture, cancel culture. Cancel that out ASAP.
Yeah.
Don't even mention cancel culture.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Y'all are dead on. I mean, Mike McCarthy throughout training camp always talked about play style. Play style, which means physical as hell, energy, fast, and I'm really thinking more defense than anything.
Yep.
And everybody said it. They were more physical than us. That's the first time this year where they really got beat soundly on both sides of the line, both sides of the ball on the line of scrimmage, especially defensively. And guys don't want to say, "Hey, we didn't give enough effort." Sometimes you just get your ass kicked. Yep. But Dak did say. I mean, he was asked, "Did you guys get too high in yourselves?" Basically,
chin held high.
He said maybe. He said I don't know, maybe. He said I think sometimes you just think you can roll it out there and get it done even when adversity hits. And they haven't been tested a ton lately. I mean, the Patriots game was a hell of a game, these last 2 games were. I think that's why it's so surprising, And I don't know if we talked about rust as a factor for Dak enough. That maybe 3 weeks off essentially was going to create some rust. And maybe we shouldn't have because, God, look how he played in week 1 with no preseason. So he'll be better. He'll get back to work. They'll get better. You guys really took probably my top 2. Well, the other one I would say, I think you have to point out, left tackle didn't work out like they hoped. Terrence Steele fought out there, but it didn't go well.
Why are you laughing, Heckma?
No, I'm not.
Heckma called that one.
Is this what an experience? Go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, we talked about it during the week how there's a line of thinking of let him stay where he's at and be successful. I don't think they had a great answer either way because Lyle Collins has never played out there at the NFL level. He's been in the league since 2015, and they went with what they thought was the more practical decision. Terrence Steele's young, but he played a lot of left tackle in training camp. Let's just do that. It didn't work.
I don't fault the decision, but
me neither.
I mean, going into the thought process that way was, Terrence Steele's going to take exactly what he did at right tackle, and he's going to be just as good on the left side. And even in the middle of the week last week, we had a conversation about it. We were saying, are we sure that's the case? Now we're completely unsure, and now there might be another conversation on whether or not Terrence Steele stays at left tackle because, well, he did so well on the right side. You could stick him right back there, and now you can try it the other way. I don't fault the decision because with everything that they had seen, with the snap counts dating back to Oxnard, with the way that he had played throughout the season at right tackle, there was nothing showing that Terrence Steele was going to go to left side and just completely not play the same way.
And the other side of that, too, that we had mentioned was, maybe Lyle Collins becomes the right tackle again at some point. Anyway, let him play at right tackle and get his feet back underneath him. It just didn't work out, and they really attacked the edges, man. But Jonathan Cooper, 7th-round draft pick, Von Miller's not there. He was in the backfield a lot.
Thank God Von wasn't there. Thank God Von was gone.
I mean, we talked about, how does that defense react? What's your mindset when you trade away the franchise player? They went the opposite direction. They didn't mail a damn thing in.
No, they didn't.
They played with a chip on their shoulder.
No, and just going back to that, I think the whole rhythm of the offense was thrown off. Dak seemed a bit out of sorts. You talk about him selling balls, just not getting his feet set, and obviously the drops, they impacted us as well. But from a pressure standpoint, it was in Dak's head. He was counting, recognizing that pressure was coming off the left side. And so, what do you do about that? With Terrence Steele, you have to go, if let's just say Tyron Smith is out against Atlanta, you got to put Terrence Steele back at left tackle. You can't.
For his
you don't switch it?
You can't. Yeah. At this point, you can't. You can't change this, and you got to allow La'el Collins. You're not going to.
No, I think you're right.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I just think the experiment itself, maybe you didn't get what you wanted. A lot of people are not going to want to hear that. But how else is this guy going to be able to get any better? You put him on the right side, you gave him help, and he started to show improvement. You didn't have to give him as much help. Now you put him on the left side, he has a horrible game. He has a horrible game. Where else do you go from there? You got to put his back out there and allow him to get that time in. You said it best. You're paying him as a swing tackle. That's what he is. Ty Nsekhe and Terrence Steele are guys that are competing at that swing tackle position. You can't just abandon ship now. It doesn't work like that, man.
You think Ty Nsekhe instead of Terrence Steele out there, or do you stick with him?
Never.
Okay.
That's never and no way.
If he played well in their mind, my thoughts against the Vikings, he would have been the left tackle Sunday. Don't you think?
I agree.
And look, people want to see best five. Well, this was kind of their version of the best five. Just
from what they have.
From what's available.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Tyron can come back this week, maybe a week off. I asked Mike McCarthy last week, is it just a rest thing? Let it calm down? And he said, I don't think it's long term. Now, does that mean he's back after one game? We'll see.
Well, he's not on IR, which is also a good sign.
Yeah, for sure.
So he could either be back in 2 weeks or, hey, he could be back this week. Maybe that's the case, and maybe it was a 1 week plug-and-play sort of deal. But Heckma made a fantastic point. If you had to pick one guy from 2020 to 2021 on the offensive side of the football that was most improved, it would probably be Terrence Steele.
Yeah.
Or no doubtably, it would be Terrence Steele.
Him or Cedric. But I would say Terrence Steele too.
Cedric had flashes, though, in 2020.
Yeah.
But
he just had
Terrence Steele did not have any flashes unless they were negative.
That's good.
So
point. Yeah.
I would say Terrence Steele far and above the most improved player. So why not give him an opportunity to try and right some of the wrongs and improve going into the week. He had a really good mindset following the game, owning up to the fact that he did not have a good game, that the team didn't have a good game, and that he's got to get better moving forward.
What else could he say?
Good point. Everybody kind of had to say that.
Isaiah said all week that I couldn't do it. he's got to own it. I mean, and the film is out there, and everybody saw it. I mean, he probably had the worst fourth quarter of any left tackle in the league. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, when we come back, how does it get fixed? Where do the Cowboys go to try and rip up the blueprint that the Broncos brought to the table yesterday for the rest of the NFL? We'll talk about it next on Talkin Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Isaiah's making a sad face, which is hints. That was the most sad mic flip I've ever seen.
No, don't ruin our Essilor read like that, man. We all got glasses because of you. You gotta do the flip, man. Come on, man.
I did it.
That was all Palm.
Sad Monday. That was my sad Monday.
That summed up everything, right?
Yeah.
I might screenshot that for Twitter, man.
Oh,
was
that not accurate?
Just have a
what
GIF.
happened? No, that's not accurate.
Jeez.
It was good. No, it's accurate. Okay. We're happier than that to have our Essilor lenses.
Oh, well, they know that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. If they don't know that, they need to just watch the rest of the show.
Watch the rest of the shows.
And the best part is that Rob's never going to have to do an Essler spot ever again.
Dude,
he did the one on Friday, and then we lost.
Here you go, Chris.
Oh, there we go. Hold on a second.
Oh, he's pulling your camera up.
Got it.
There it is. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. How do we fix it? Where do we go from here? Cowboys lose 30-16 to the Denver Broncos. Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, Kyle Yeoman's final couple minutes here of a Monday edition of Talking Cowboys. Isaiah, I'll start with you on this one. Where do the Cowboys go? Because Denver provided a blueprint. And maybe that was a blueprint that was kind of stolen a little bit from the Patriots and what they did well against the Cowboys a couple weeks ago. However, Denver actually executed it through a full 4 quarters. How does the Dallas Cowboys rip up? How do they rip up that blueprint?
Yeah, I think they just identified that they played like crap. I had to go back and watch it and see exactly. I think some of it was scheme, some of it was assignment, and then a lot of it was just effort. That's what I really think. I think a lot of it was just they just didn't care enough. They didn't care enough. They didn't care that somebody walked in their house and punched them in their mouth. Like, they didn't fight back. I don't know if you guys ever been in a fight before, but I got cursed out by my mom when I was young. We was at a doggone church bowling event, and a kid was standing over me talking mess to me, and I didn't stand back up. When I got home, I got my butt whooped because she said, "Don't you ever let somebody come in your doggone crib, in your bubble, and talk mess to you, right, and threaten you. You better stand up for yourself." And Dallas didn't do that. So I feel like they will be perfectly fine. I'm fully confident that they'll be perfectly fine because I think the culture of this team now is they will not allow this to ever rear its head again, and they will bounce back next week and say, "Hey, what?"
I just realized we may be related.
Yeah, I think we.
Also,
I got my pow but I got my pow beat.
Got your pow beat.
Pow beat.
Also, did you say you were bowling?
Oh, I'm a bowler, baby.
You said you got in a guy trash talked you while bowling.
Yeah, well, they stood over me. Like, we got in some kind of little dispute, and the person came and stood over me, and I didn't get up. So my mom was "Don't you ever let somebody feel like they have the advantage over you," type of deal.
You got Allen Iverson in a bowling alley?
Yeah, never again though. Ever since then, I've been like, I should be in the PBA bowling.
Remember, he's played PC before.
Oh, no, I'm more of
PC
thinking
every time.
I'm just mind blown by the trash talking in the bowling alley, and then the fact that you almost got in a fight, dropped the gloves, hockey style, straight up in the middle of like pink and orange balls just rolling around next to you.
You ever seen Big Lebowski?
Yeah,
stuff happens.
That's fair. That's a good point.
So he told that whole story, and you missed the fact that he got his ass whooped when he got home.
Oh no, I know.
You missed the most important part of that story.
I heard that
you
part.
You can't call CPS
when
now.
It's too late. I had to put that back in the rearview mirror.
It's too late.
You can't do it.
30 years too late.
All I was thinking about is the bowling balls. Wait a minute.
Wait, he got in a fight in a bowling?
I got in a fight. I got home. I got my tail with that home too.
Kyle.
Oh, jeez.
Kyle would have been sitting there with his phone like 911.
No, I would have been.
I tried that one time. Heck. I tried it.
Oh man! But how do you make it back from that? I mean, I just piggybacking what Isaiah just said, man. I think the effort has to be there. You see a team that comes out flat. They can't just roll the helmets out there anymore. I feel like they can, and you can't drink the Kool-Aid, brother. You just have to. You can't do that. You have to every week. You're gonna have to work towards this. And honestly, sometimes you just have a bad day, and we had a bad day. Lord knows I've had a few days here at Talkin Cowboys when I went home and like Derek is gonna fire me. And I can't wait to hurry up to get back. To get that bad taste out of my mouth because it's just like, man, it stays with you because you want to be at your best at all times. And I know that while these guys are watching this film, they have a bad taste in their mouth, and it's going to be there all week until Sunday until the Dirty Birds show up.
Jacksonville beat the Bills. Giants won yesterday. Packers lost. Rams lost. I mean, it wasn't a terrible day at the end when you look at the big picture there. But yeah, stuff's got to get corrected. I think a lot of it was they were off. Dak Prescott's not going to play like that the rest of the year. I'm pretty confident of that. Good news is, as much as he was having to buy time with his legs, calf looked fine. So that's good. I did have a question for you guys, honestly, because you mentioned blueprint. And Mike McCarthy mentioned the way they played coverage and the way they played the kind of match game defensively against the Cowboys offense. What did you guys see there, and do you think that is a blueprint going forward? Because I'm not sure. Because when this offense is at their best, they're hard to stop. I don't care who they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Vic Fangio's been a defensive coordinator, been in the NFL as a coordinator for 33 years. I mean, this guy knows his stuff. He's seen everything. So you're not going to fool him. And I think they did a really good job of loading up on first downs where Dak came out throwing on first downs. It wasn't until, I think, the end of the first quarter that we even started trying to establish the run on first down. That just was how many guys they were loading into the box. And once, Dak started seeing that, then they were getting pressure with just 4 guys and dropping 7 into coverage. And so they did a lot of great things, did the Broncos, to fool Dak because you saw him pumping like, I'm going to take that back. And then finally, I think it was the fourth quarter, end of the third, where he did finally throw an interception. But it was just like, man, they were dropping guys into coverage. And those little open screen, little throws that he's used to making, there was a Bronco standing in there. And you can't do that from a defensive coordinator standpoint unless you have smart guys that can play. I mean, Kyle Fuller was a guy that fell out of favor with the Broncos. He comes back and he has a get back in favor game yesterday. So, I mean, there were a lot of guys that were playing out of their mind. And they played like it.
And I think the Cowboys probably went into that matchup looking at Denver and saying they had the third highest blitz rate in the NFL entering last week and said, we're going to see blitzes in every shape, fashion, and form.
Didn't blitz.
And they didn't blitz at all. They got pressure with 3 and 4 guys. They didn't need the blitz.
They didn't need to, and they've watched Dak chew up blitzes all year long, too.
Exactly. And I think that might have gone into the thinking of Fangio and what he said. He's like, you know what? We blitzed a lot. It hasn't really worked for us. Let's just try and get pressure with 3, 4 guys, and maybe we'll throw an extra guy in there every now and again. But from this point forward, we need to make sure Dak Prescott doesn't beat us over the top. We'll stop the run. We have no problem with that. But then, yeah.
Yeah, how many times do you think Dak would miss that throw to CD when CD puts his hand? I mean, that's a touchdown, and he overthrows it. Even passes that just were at guys' feet. Cedric, Wilson couldn't get his hands on some of those balls, and Amari Cooper drops a ball after not dropping. I mean, it just wasn't our night, man.
It was not. It was not. Isaiah, you have anything to add on that before we go?
No, man. I want to hurry up and get to Atlanta week. I mean, like I said, they just didn't show up, man. You know there's always a risk of it, which is why I said, you still got to show up and play against professionals. But there's always a risk. There's always a chance. And it's just unfortunate that we saw that they allowed that to happen. Kudos to the Broncos for showing up. Cowboys did not.
Real quick,
no more red stripe.
From your
I liked it.
I liked it. Look good. No, I'm playing
great,
around. I'm glad we honored them, but we didn't honor them the way we wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, from your time in the league, what is a Monday like after a loss like this for the players going through film?
It's everybody understands. I mean, you just understand what just happened. You get in there, you get your weight. You lift your weights, and you try to talk about everything but the game, and then you get in there and you watch your film and you take your lumps. You take your lumps. And like I said, it's better because this wasn't 1 or 2 guys that cost you the game. This was everybody sucks, right? So, I mean, the coach can't even just highlight. I mean, he's going to get tired of highlighting. He might go through the first 2 or 3 series of highlighting people that do things wrong. After that, it's just like, all right, y'all watch the rest of this on your own. It really gets to that point because there's just so much bad that you don't have enough time in the day to beat down everything that happens. So it's just you get your grades. So the film will come on. You'll watch a little bit as a team, and then you break out to your individual meeting rooms when coach gets tired of it, and your coach will drop them little packets on your desk, and every play is going to have a plus or a minus, and you're going to add them things up, and most of the guys are going to have a nice little D grade or worse on their paper, and you understand what happened. You digest it. You watch it today, and then you go on to the next one.
Yep.
And you recognize that you got some boys that are playing well coming in here.
Yep. Atlanta's won a couple big games. They won a game this week over New Orleans. I mean, albeit New Orleans had a backup quarterback, but that doesn't matter. Cowboys, the way they played yesterday, they're not going to beat a ton of teams. So Cowboys going to have to figure it out, and we're going to talk about it throughout the week as well. Tomorrow we take your calls here on Talkin Cowboys. Be sure to write down this phone number, 888-855-2297. We'll take your calls and listen from Cowboys Nation and continue breaking things down. We'll also have news and notes and everything in between for tomorrow's show. But that does it for us today. For Chris Beam, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!